What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel and the morning movie chat. It seems like it's been a while since we've done one of these morning movie chats where we sit down here in the morning and talk a little bit about a movie or some movies. Today, I want to talk about The Evil Dead, the 2013, I guess you could say reboot, because it's not necessarily a remake, as well as talk about The Evil Dead Rise, which is this 2023 version of this franchise. And it's very interesting when you get into this and you see what they did in the 2013 version and even the 2023 version of The Evil Dead here within this franchise, if you will, because it seems like all it really takes to be in part of the Evil Dead franchise is a chainsaw, the Necronomicon, and a little bit of Boomstick. And so getting into this, that's one of the things that I did notice is it's kind of the staple, if you will. You know, you need that Book of the Dead. You definitely need a chainsaw, and you're gonna need that Boomstick. But in case you don't know, this franchise started off probably not with the idea of ever really being a franchise back in 1981 when writer, producer, director Sam Raimi came out with the first Evil Dead movie starring Bruce Campbell. And in case you've never seen it, it's a movie you definitely need to check out. It's one I absolutely love. And then a handful of years later, I believe it was 1987, he went ahead and did essentially his own reboot of this exact same movie, The Evil Dead 2. Now, I don't know, I've heard people make arguments that they are like a 1 and 2, but they're not really. I mean, we're dealing with the same guy, the same situation of events going down here, in which we see this man Ash go out into the woods with his girlfriend, and when they go into this cabin in which they are staying, he stumbles upon this Book of the Dead, a book that's bound in flesh and inked in blood. And through certain different processes, there's in these particular movies, there's like this recording of this doctor who is looking up and studying the Necronomicon, and these passages are said that brings to life this evil in the woods. Now, in the original movies, it was absolutely great. You had this evil that was out there that was an evil that you don't really see, and I think that's something that works in so many great horror movies, is the fact that there is this something that is more scary when it's not necessarily seen. Here it's heard and not seen. It's just like what you do is you get these camera effects of it kind of just going through the woods and chasing after you. And you basically just get the view of the camera as the evil, if you will. And it's absolutely great. Now, when it comes to the first two Evil Dead movies, I think while they are great horror movies, there's also a certain level of cheesiness within them as well that works really great. For me, I think it's something that is almost a staple of a great horror movie in being able to tell something scary while not taking yourself too seriously. Being able to have a little bit of cheesiness really does go a long way. But if you get into the first couple of movies, a lot of the special effects and just different camera movements and things that Sam Raimi did within these first couple of movies was absolutely great, that helped set the stage for these movies that became cult classics. You get things like just sometimes it's the I guess you would say the animatronics, if you will, the effects where we see like at certain points in the movies we see some of like the certain dead animals and different things like that, different like chairs and other inanimate objects within this cabin that are laughing. That take off laughing, and just other different things in here where we see in like the I believe it was that this I want to say it was the second Evil Dead. It's been a while since I've watched either one of those. It's been a couple of years, but we see just like Ash's girlfriend after she gets taken over, and he buries her. She comes back alive, and you got the skeleton that comes out and does this whole little dance and everything. And it's all kind of creepy. Just the way some of these things are done, and the style in which they are done is absolutely great. And I think it's some of the things that make and made Sam Raimi such a great director, and for these kind of flicks. And then you fast forward a handful of years later. After this, we get the Army of Darkness, and the Army of Darkness is one, I believe, when I was a kid. Army of Darkness, or when, I guess at that point I wasn't really a kid, when the Army of Darkness came out, was the first one I actually ever seen of any of these films starring Bruce Campbell. And I watched that movie over so many different times, and then, excuse me, I went back and watched the original movies, because at the time I was unaware that there was the Evil Dead. So I watched Army of Darkness, which is an absolutely great film to add on into this franchise, to carry it on into this next phase, which was actually the next step. If you watch the Evil Dead 2, the way that it ends, especially goes right into the Evil Dead, where we see Ash go transported back in time. And if you haven't seen the Evil Dead 2, or the Army of Darkness, I highly suggest you go back and watch these films. And when you get into the Army of Darkness, and that's the thing I feel with these first few movies is the Army of Darkness really steps up the production and gets into a little bit more, I don't know, comedic value is what it has to it. And you watch those movies, and it's just absolutely so great. But the Army of Darkness, while it is a horror movie, it seems less of one, but not necessarily that it's not one. It's really kind of hard to explain unless you go check the movies out for yourself. But I was thinking about this too with regard to my kids and letting them watch. I was like, I need to get my kids watching some more horror movies, and I almost feel like the Evil Dead is kind of maybe some of the movies to get them kind of started, but maybe they're not. I don't really know, because if you think about it, there's plenty of different franchises out there that really kind of dabble in this same kind of realm of horror without necessarily being horror movies. One of the movies that really comes to mind for me is something like Gremlins, where it's definitely a horror movie, but it has so many aesthetics to it that make it a little bit more presentable for people who might be younger audiences. But I think the Evil Dead probably fits that, but more so the Army of Darkness, where there is some horrific things going on there, and it's got a lot of that stuff in there, but there's a little more to it than just being a straight up horror movie. So if you've never seen any of those movies, you absolutely need to go check them out. Bruce Campbell starring in them. He's a freaking rock star, man. Bruce Campbell is absolutely great, and to have him cast as that main character in those first few movies was really good. Now, I also want to get in and talk about the main thing that I want to talk about today. Here is the Evil Dead. In 2013, there was a reboot of this franchise back in 2013. And this movie, oh man, let me see. I'm not even sure who all starred in this movie. Let's see. Let's see. It's directed by Fede Alvarez, and the writers are Fede Alvarez and Rodo Sayaguez. And it is produced by Sam Raimi still here, with their production company as well. But when we get into this, the cast that we have here is we have it's got a very small cast of people. These kids that go into the woods, as they are confronting one of their friends and family members about an addiction that she has. And a lot of this addiction was brought on by things, just trauma passed on from their mother and what they had to deal with, where we see a brother and a sister are some of our main characters here, as the sister is addicted to drugs, and her family and friends bring her out to the woods to get her in a secluded area so she can help kick this habit by having basically not being close to civilization and having any way out as she goes through withdrawals and things like that. Now, the movie stars Jane Levy as Mia, Shiloh Fernandez as her brother David. We've got Taylor Pucci as Eric, who is one of the friends of the family here, as well as Jessica Lucas, who is playing Olivia, who is, again, one of her good friends of the family, if you will. And then we've got Elizabeth Blackmore as Natalie, who is the girlfriend of the brother of the girl who has this drug addiction. And the dynamics really get kind of interesting when you get into this movie, and it's something a little bit different because we see them go out to the woods, and it appears that they are at their family cabin. And when they get there, it appears that it's been broken into. They go inside, and they're checking the place out, see how it is. They notice this just things are after it was broken in. Just everything looks a little bit rummaged through. But as they are there, they kind of they all get together, and they have their hellos and go through all the motions of saying greeting each other. As we could see, obviously the brother, who is a mechanic, has not really been present in any of their lives and wasn't really there for the sister, as she was there taking care of their mother, as she was in a mental institution and had just kind of going through all that before her death. And it was obviously something that severely affected her and helped carry, and I guess helped along this drug habit that she has. Well, as they are there in the cabin, she starts to go through withdrawals and notices that there is a smell there in the cabin. And at this point, we see her brother and his friend. They go down into this basement that is just where we see at the very, very beginning of the movie, there was a ritual that had gone on, and there's a bunch of like dead animals hanging from the ceiling there in the basement, and it really smells. It was something that they didn't really notice until the sister had said something as she began to go through withdrawals. At first, they thought she was all just a little bit crazy. So as they're down there cleaning everything up, they notice that there is this book there, just so some of these different things, and the brother, or I guess not the brother, the brother's best friend here, which is really great, because the guy they got here, Lou Taylor Pucci, has just this look. He looks like one of those kind of Seattle kids. He looks like he's probably had a little bit too much soy in his latte, and probably listens to Nirvana. Anyway, we see that he actually finds this book. He finds the Necronomicon, and he goes ahead and he opens it up, and he starts looking through this book and speaking some of the incantations that are written within the book. And this is what unleashes the evil here in the woods, as the evil then finds the sister after she is going through her withdrawals and tries to leave the cabin. She tries to leave, and she is out in the woods. As she's leaving, she ends up wrecking the car and running from this evil that ends up finding her. So she ends up being found by her brother, and they take her back to the cabin. And this is when things the shit really hits the fan, as she kind of starts to flip out, the evil is beginning to overtake them. And just a lot of the different things that happen in this movie I thought were really cool to see how they go down as compared to what we got in the original offerings of the Evil Dead franchise. Seeing and how the evil overtakes her and then spreads to everybody else. And it's very very cool seeing how like at first they're in denial of some of these things going on, and then this sooner or later the friend ends up telling everybody how he read this book of the dead, and it released this evil upon them, and how the things that they have to do to be able to rid themselves of it. But this doesn't come till after it has already affected his girlfriend, and even the other main character, his girlfriend as well. And just the events of this movie I thought were absolutely great. And I think definitely this movie fits right in there with this whole Evil Dead franchise, and really kind of stepped up, I guess stepped up some of the gore, some of the body horror in this movie and in this franchise. And I thought it was absolutely great getting into seeing this movie, because it's one of those things when you're making a movie in a franchise, especially one that is such a cult classic and beloved by fans as The Evil Dead, to go out there and make a movie, I guess essentially a reboot within this same franchise. You got some big shoes to fill, and I think in this 2013 remake, they did an absolutely good job of doing all of the things necessary that we see from like the original Evil Dead films, and kind of sort of recreating that for a new generation. But let me know what you think down in the comments below if you have seen the Evil Dead, the 2013 reboot, and what you think about it. We'll get here into the live chats, and then we will start. I will come back and we will chat about the Evil Dead Rise. Okay, so I apologize for being late. I was a few minutes late. I was here, and I got my computer started up, and there was an update, so I had to update, and that took a little while longer than I expected. But let's see. I see we've got some great people here. Let's see. Oh man, of course I forgot that. All right, I see we've got RC Scott in the building, as well as Lucas Texvenger, Star Wars MCU-OG, Mike Popcorn Porter with a 36-month member chat, says we have been doing this forever. Yeah, man, it has been forever. And here we are, man, we're at 3 years already. At 3 years. And you know what? We do need to come up with some new badges. I know they allow for like the new badges at the 3-year mark. So we're going to have to kick around some ideas for something new to do for that. We've also got my man Reefer Man Reviews, as well as Sheev the Wise and the Nerd Executive. Man, we got some great people here in the building. So, okay, let's see what working but not drinking. That will have to wait. Yes, it will, especially if you're at work, RC Scott. Luke's Texvenger is saying good morning. Everybody's saying good morning. I hope you're all having a very good morning. Reefer Man says, I was actually prepping myself for some Evil Dead the game when I seen this pop up. All right. Good deal. Yeah, as I was saying, I seen you were playing some the other night as well. You know, I don't think I've ever played the Evil Dead game. I don't think I've ever played it. But is that because Bruce Campbell does a voice in that too, right? Doesn't he voice? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Reefer Man says, I miss this theme song. It's been a while since I've made it to one of these. Yeah, it has been, Reefer Man. And, you know, I mean, I've been doing some, like, my streams lately have been some in the evening, late afternoon. I guess where you're at, it's probably evening for you when I've been doing them, if not late at night. But thank you so much for being here, Reefer Man. Reefer says, I haven't seen the 2013 one, but I can't wait to watch Rise. You know, I would say definitely check out the 2013 version, and then definitely check out Rise. They are actually both, if you have, I watched them both on HBO Max here or it's just Max. I'm sorry, I watched it on Max here over the weekend as Friday night. That was part of the reason on Friday I didn't do a live stream or even over the weekend was I got home from work on Friday and I was feeling a little. I wasn't feeling too good. Like I was feeling like just I don't know, feeling like I felt a little bit tired. Well, I woke up Saturday. I must have had a stomach bug over the weekend because I just wasn't feeling good. Like I wasn't really running a fever or anything, but definitely had some digestion issues, sort of. But I felt really bad on Saturday, and I ended up waking up, and I felt okay. I was gonna go for my bike ride and everything. I got ready, or as I was getting ready, I was just like I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling a little bit sore everywhere. I was like, man, I feel really bad. Maybe I am just getting old, and so I was getting around in the morning and it was a little bit slow. So I ended up getting on a stream with Chillmonger on Saturday, and I felt okay during the stream. But after the stream, I was just really tired and just felt wore down. So I went and took a nap and pretty much spent the rest of the weekend in bed. So as I was laying down and I guess essentially relaxing, I went ahead and took some time to get caught up on some movies. But both of these movies are available on HBO Max right now if you happen to have that. So that's why I got a chance to check them out. But definitely check out this 2013 movie. I thought it was absolutely great. Again, the blood, the guts, the horror, and everything going on, I thought was probably a step up from what we got out of the original movies for, I guess, a more modern audience, but fit very well right in there with this franchise of films. And I thought it was really well done. Let's see. The Evil Dead 2 was just an expansion of the story told in part 1. Yeah, essentially it was. I mean, they had a little bit bigger budget, and they just took things a little bit. Yeah, like you said, it expanded it just a little bit more. Yeah, the camera angle was iconic. Yes. Yeah, Sheev the Wise says, yes, cheesy horror. Yeah, it is. I mean, and I wouldn't even say it's necessarily that it's like completely cheesy. It's just there's elements in it that give it that cheese. And I think, like I said, I think any good horror movie should have that certain element to it. Like, I think there comes a point where like some movies, because like you certainly can take things seriously, but I feel like there's some movies that need a little bit of cheesiness injected into them because I feel like some of them take themselves a little bit too seriously. Sometimes. But yes, thank you so much for being here, Sheev. Reefer Man says, I saw Army in theaters when it came out, not realizing at first it was an Evil Dead sequel. Oh, okay, right. Yeah. I was a huge fan before then. When I realized it was an Evil Dead movie, I almost died of joy. Yeah, because the second you would see Ash come on screen and you see the way it begins, you would definitely know at that point, like, holy shit, like this is okay, like, yeah, I could see how you might be taken aback by that. New Executive says, are we talking the Evil Dead? Yes, we are. Even the new Evil Dead is so good, so campy and wonderful. It doesn't matter. It's pure cinema. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think these remakes and that I guess that was my big hesitation in watching that 2013 reboot, if you will, is because I was kind of like, man, I don't know, man. Like the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness are just such cult classics. Like, can you remake that magic and do a good horror movie that's going to fit in the vein and make me feel as good as these movies did? And they did it. And it's great too because we actually see that even Sam Raimi is still involved in producing these films. So yeah, I think the 2013 movie was absolutely great, and I was glad to see that it did really kind of make me. Like, I felt bad for putting it off for 10 years, right? I felt bad for putting it off for like a whole decade. Like a whole decade later, decided to watch this movie, and it was really, really good. I thought it was absolutely great, and definitely does fit right in there with this franchise. Reefer says, "Yeah, I work 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Oh, okay, yeah, 6 days. Okay, right. East Coast time. Yeah, it's wild. Is any free time I have ain't free. Yeah, believe me, I believe me, I understand that, man. Free time ain't free. I got sometimes I get people, like, hey, when you got a minute, give me a call. I'm like, man, like you fucking you need to give me a call and hope I pick up the phone and that's the time I'm free because like free time seems like it's become more scarce, especially like as my kids have been getting older. We've been homeschooling and just everything else going on in life, and then getting back busy with my business as well. Business has sort of been picking up with my own with my business also. Yes. We got Alexander Webb here in the building as well, guys. If you haven't ever checked out Alexander Webb's channel, make sure that you go do that. You can just type in his name there, Alexander Webb. This guy has a YouTube channel, does some very good videos on there. Alexander says, and thank you so much for being here. He says, wanted to check out both of them. Army of Darkness will always be my favorite. Yeah, like Army of Darkness is just so great because it's one of those ones. It's got like all the elements that we get from the Evil Dead, but it's got a little bit more than that. To me, it's got like they're in that whole Renaissance era and they do all that. I'm a big Ren Fair geek, so like like there's just a little bit more to it than just being sort of a basic horror movie. It's got a little bit more to it. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's better than the Evil Dead and the Evil Dead 2, but I feel like it has a little bit more rewatchability to it. Like I'd be able to watch it a little bit more. And as I was saying earlier, I feel like it's something I could probably show my kids and maybe get them into a little bit more than say the Evil Dead movies. Nerd Executive says it blows away suspension of disbelief and then it takes it up 10 levels and keeps going. It really does. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Reefer Man says I went to Army not even seeing a trailer. I was just bored and it was playing. I think I was about 14 years old or so at the time. Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds about right because I believe Army of Darkness was what 94. I want to say it was I want to say it was 94. I could be wrong. Let me see here. Army. What? Why did you do that? Oh, okay. It was 92. Yeah. 92. Yeah. The executive says, Ryan says it was my hesitation too. Like the new Halloweens and all the new stuff tries, but yeah, and that's the thing is like the new Halloween movies and stuff. I can't remember what the latest one was I watched, and that's kind of like, yeah, I'm good. And then they even try to redo like Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I tried to watch that one and I was like, yeah, it's all right. So trying to recreate some of those things is just hard to do. Where in the Evil Dead, this essentially reboot, I'm not even sure it's a reboot. Like they just I guess it is a reboot. They went into the same franchise and they just kind of carried on that legacy that happened. I think it was really well done. Mike Popcorn Porter says, "Hey, I had to do some brave stuff. I don't like scary movies." Well, Mike Porter, I wouldn't say that these the Evil Dead movies are necessarily scary. Much as much, I don't know. Is that how do you guys feel about this? Is that the same horror like being being scary a horror movie? Because like me, like I don't see the Evil Dead movies as being scary. They're just horror movies. They've got some body horror going on there, the evil, and just kind of some gory shit going on. Is it? Do you guys find them scary? I mean, I don't. I mean, and I think that's the thing is like that's where I lean a little bit more into body horror these days is because like finding like scary movies is hard to do unless you're watching Scary Movie, which I've been letting my kids do. They're watching Scary Movie. Yeah. I'm a great father. I am. I will check out the 2013 film and Rise ASAP. Yeah, they're really good. They're really good. Jonny has no free time. It's just scarce. It's just scarce. It seems like it seems like free time is coming less and less. The best horror movie I've seen is the Doctor Strange movies. Those aren't horror movies. Those are magical. They're magic. They're mad. They're fantasy. Okay, so let me see here. Where are we at? Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Popcorn Porter says, "Okay, I don't like movies that are not the MC." Oh, okay. See that changes things up a little bit there, Mike. That changes things up a little bit. That changes things up. So let's go ahead and talk about. Oh, come on. Let's talk about The Evil Dead Rise. This movie is another movie that just came out here in 2023, a decade after the Evil Dead reboot happened. And this movie, The Evil Dead Rise, it just came out this year. I just got a chance to see it as well. And this one is one that fits a little bit differently into this franchise of films than any of its predecessors, where we see the Evil Dead 2 take place in the woods in this little cabin. The Army of Darkness just kind of really ties into that. And then even the Evil Dead reboot in 2013 is a movie that still takes place in these woods and in this particular cabin where this evil is unleashed. But we get here into The Evil Dead Rise, and what we see is the movie starts off kind of out on a little lake house, where we see there are some friends who are out enjoying some time at a cabin on a sort of, I don't know, I guess a weekend getaway, when this movie kicks off and we see that this evil has obviously been unleashed upon the world. And then we rewind and skip back just a couple of weeks prior to the opening events of the movie. And we open up in Los Angeles, which is where this movie takes place at. And we see that there is this old-looking, it's a pretty horrific-looking apartment building. And we see that it is getting ready to be condemned. They're getting ready to shut it down. All the people are getting ready to be sort of evicted and have to find new places to live. It's kind of the situation that is being set up here. As we see, there is this young lady who looks like she is a guitar tech for a touring band, and she decides to go home. Well, I guess not necessarily home, but to go visit her sister after she has something unexpected happen in her own life. And we see she goes back to visit her sister, where her sister has 3 children of her own and has been basically abandoned and been left by her husband to fend for herself and her children. And as we see, they are there living at this old rundown, dilapidated, is that the word I'm looking for? Apartment complex. This is where kind of sets the tone for this Evil Dead Rise, where we see the sister ends up showing up to see her sister. She's there to tell her about her issues, to tell her that she's pregnant. She's getting ready to have a kid. And we see this all kind of all... this issue is exacerbated by the fact that she gets back and finds that her sister has been separated from her husband, and she is basically a solo wife at this point, a solo mom taking care of her 3 children. They all sit down to talk and everything, kind of reunite, if you will, because it seems like it's been a while since they have been together. And in the middle of all this, they kind of get into a little bit of a conflict, and this is when the mother sends the kids out to go and get some pizza. So she sends her son and two daughters out to get some pizza. And the son, he don't look like he's old enough to be driving, but she gives him the keys to their car to go get some pizza. So they go out, and during that time, we see the two sisters kind of having a back and forth dialogue, kind of going at each other as they both have obviously some history, some familial issues here. And as the kids arrive back home to the apartment, they're there in the basement parking garage. And isn't it convenient that some of these places have these parking garages at these apartment complexes that are much like they have at Nakatomi Plaza, where you got to have like a little clicker, and and the parking garage itself is shut off from everything else. I mean, it's just a convenience, I guess, of some movies. So they end up getting back to the apartment complex there in the parking garage, and as the kids are getting out of their car with their pizza to bring home for dinner, we say there is an earthquake, and during this time, like this, and this is probably part of the reason this old building is being shut down, is the structure. It doesn't seem the integrity is compromised here. The ground starts to crumble underneath them, and in that, the kids discover a hole that goes down into looks like it was an abandoned bank. So the oldest kid, the son, he ends up going down into this hole that was created by this earthquake, and he finds an old vault, an old bank vault, and he is there, goes down there, and it's kind of creepy. He's going through things, and he ends up stumbling upon some records. This kid was he's a DJ. We see he's got excuse me he's got DJ equipment and everything that we had seen previous to them going out for dinner. And he stumbles upon these records, some records that he ends up putting in his backpack, as well as the Book of the Dead. So he ends up taking these things with them, as he was down there, just rummaging through all what little bit of stuff was left in these old bank vaults. And as his sisters are up there worried about him, telling him to get out of there because they don't know at this point the stability of the building, and this stuff could all cave in. So he ends up getting out. They end up going up to the apartment with their pizza that at this point during the earthquake had pretty much fallen, and it was they pretty much didn't have dinner at this point. So they get back to the apartment, and we can see the sisters were still kind of sitting there arguing, going through their little thing. And they all get back together, and they are all there as a family. Whereas we see the son ends up going into his room and taking these records and putting them on his record player, and he begins spinning them. But they are playing at a speed in which is faster than his record player is playing. So he ends up having to manually spin them by hand to speed them up to be able to understand and make out what's going on these records. And it turns out these records are actually some recordings very similar to what we got in like the Evil Dead, of some in this case we've got some priests who are making these recordings of discoveries after as they started to investigate this one of the 3 books of the dead. And they are going through there and talking about they're having meetings with their people. I'm not sure what you would call that, the people in their congregation there, as they want to further dive into this Book of the Dead and see exactly what's going on. They were met with obviously a lot of hostility and things like that, but they went ahead and did it anyway. And through these recordings, I believe there's like three or four records that he has. They begin to speak some of the incantations that are found in this book. Now, the book itself is something a little bit different as well, where it has a little bit different look than the original Necronomicon, or even the Necronomicon that we get in the Evil Dead, the 2013 reboot, where this one is still bound in flesh, but it's also got all these teeth that are, it looks like these teeth that are on it as well, that are keeping it bound closed. But the kid ends up pricking his finger on it, and a little bit of blood drops on the book, and that's what makes these teeth start to open up, and the book then they are then able to open up the book and take a look at it. But as after having taken a look at the book and even playing these records, the incantation is spoken that leads and opens up the gates of hell, and the evil comes to life within this dilapidated apartment building. And we kind of see the course of events go on, and the sister ends up she's getting ready to give the youngest daughter a bath. All the kids are kind of doing their thing, and the mother at that point has to go do some laundry, so she ends up taking her laundry to go out, and she was going to they were talking about not taking the elevator in this building, especially after an earthquake. So she went to take the stairs, but the stairs had been destroyed during the earthquake. So she goes ahead and takes the elevator. When she gets to the bottom floor there where the laundry is, this is where the evil then overtakes her, and she ends up getting on the elevator, goes back up, and this is pretty much where this shit hits the fan as she gets back to their apartment, and going through all of the motions of somebody that has been possessed by this evil. And so we sort of see everything go on here within this apartment complex, as they are pretty much all locked in at this point. We see they have a couple of different neighbors around as well that are pretty much in hell with them, and are stuck there in the apartment complex. And we see the events starting to unfold. The horror there, the evil starting to took over their sister, and they think she's dead, and she ends up coming back to life. And I think it was kind of funny in this movie, because as she starts to, her body's all contorted and she's all dead and moving and everything, like the family sitting like, oh my God, is she okay? Like, they're not even thinking about, like, it's a horror movie. Have you never seen a horror movie where somebody's like going all crazy? Like, it just, like, sometimes it's one of those things that makes it, when you're watching a movie like this, you're like, come on, don't you get it? Don't you see what's going on here? I mean, sure, you every day in your everyday life, you probably don't see demonic possession and people like this evil fucking shit going on. But like, at some point, you got to be like, come on, like, there's some shit very not right here. That, like, that pizza didn't set well in her stomach, and this is why she's acting this way. You don't see this shit and see that, right? So she starts to go on a rampage throughout the apartment complex. At one point, they finally get her out of the apartment building, and then they are basically all there trapped within their own lone apartment, as the mother has been out roaming the hallways and has killed their neighbors as well. And this is one of the things you see in the trailer, where you see the mother trying to get back into the apartment, and you see her sitting there like, and she's sitting there trying to get in, and it's like that shit in the trailer. I was like, man, this looks horrific, and it looks fucking great. And we see she's trying to get back in, and by way of something that does definitely happen throughout all of these movies, once the evil has overtaken you, is you are overtaken by this demon, and it definitely speaks in a demonic voice. But at times, it's a smart demon, and it appeals to their loved ones. Here, where she starts talking in her normal voice, and she ends up appealing to the youngest daughter, who ends up sort of unlocking the door and letting her back in. And so the evil ends up still getting into the apartment. But both the middle child, the sister, and even the older child, the son, end up getting kind of overtaken by this horror as well, through all the different events that happen here. And again, some very great body horror kind of things going on, as we see that finally the sister and the youngest daughter end up making it out of the apartment complex down into the parking garage. So they finally make their way down into the parking garage, and to escape, they get to the car, and of course, the clicker to unlock and get the door open, the gates to leave, ends up not working, as the evil then finds them down in the bottom in this in the parking lot of this apartment complex. and the two girls ended up getting separated, but the oldest one, the sister, who ends up turns out is pregnant. She ends up getting back back into the parking garage and saving the little girl, but not without first having found a chainsaw, a shotgun, and a wood chipper. You know, those things we use for the chomos. Well, we need to anyway. To end up taking care of this evil spirit. And this evil spirit, the way it's overtaken the sister in this movie and the things that it goes through, definitely some very great body horror stuff going on in this movie. And then we see how the movie ends up, and where the evil ends up taking over this other young girl that lives in this apartment complex that had no idea of anything that was going on throughout the events of this whole movie. That is where it found her and ended up overtaking her, that she ended up taking it to this cabin out on this lake house where we seen at the very beginning of the movie. Altogether, I think The Evil Dead Rise was... I think it was a very good horror movie, though I think it's something a little bit different. Takes us out of the woods, out of that cabin that we've come to, I guess, kind of become a little bit of attached to within this franchise, and brings it into Los Angeles in this apartment complex, and then essentially brings it back to the woods. I don't know. I feel this movie really does fit in there with this whole franchise, but it just felt different in seeing that it didn't take place in the woods, in this cabin, and how they did introduce the 3 books, that there's actually 3 books of the dead here as well, which is something, I mean, maybe I missed that in the first iterations of this franchise, that there are 3 books. I mean, I remember in The Evil Dead when he had to Klaatu, Barata, Nickel. Man, I know it was an N-word. Anyway, we see it takes it a little bit out of that, and at first, that kind of like, it made me feel like, I don't know about this, man. I don't know, like, I don't really necessarily feel good about this being an Evil Dead movie if they're not there doing all the things that I kind of have as an expectation of this, the Evil Dead franchise. But as the movie carries on and we get through to the end, it's one of the things that makes me realize that all you need is the Necronomicon, a chainsaw, and a little boomstick. It really ended up working out in the end, and I think this movie was definitely a change of setting for this franchise. And it definitely has a bunch of body horror elements, definitely very gory, and overall I think the movie itself was pretty good, though I do feel just a little bit different, a little bit of indifference about it being in the Evil Dead franchise, even though it does basically have all of the same ingredients as the previous films, with the exception of being out in the woods in that cabin. But let me know what you think down in the comments below if you have watched The Evil Dead Rise, and what are your thoughts about it. And we'll get back here into the live chats. And I see we've got some extra people joining us. We've got Aggressively Relaxing and Q Bellow Music, my man Quentin, in the building. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Make sure that you thumbs up the video. Share the stream out with your friends. Tell them to come watch this stream of me flapping my gums about the Evil Dead. Mike Popcorn Porter says, is that a zombie movie? First, Reefer Man says, wait, here we go. Doctor Strange movies do have horror elements. Yeah, they've definitely got some horror elements to them. They definitely do. Reefer Man says Bruce should play an alt-Earth version of Doctor Strange. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, he's getting older now. He's getting up there in age, but yeah, certainly, certainly. I don't see there's any reason they couldn't get him on that Marvel diet and workout program, like Hugh Jackman is on. Get some of that extra protein, and and get him in. But no, really, he could play an alternate version of Doctor Strange. That would be great. Mike Popcorn Porter says, "Is that a zombie movie?" I don't do zombies. No zombies. Definitely no. I don't do zombies either. I'm not big into zombies like evil. Not the Evil Dead, but what was that one? The Walking Dead and all that stuff. I'm just not really into zombies as much, which is crazy because I do like body horror movies. And if you think about a zombie movie, zombie movies are almost by default body horror in a way, but they're a little bit, but they're still in a different vein. And I'm not as into like zombie movies either. I'm not as much into those. I just want to watch Bunnies and Daffodils. Oh, Bunnies and Daffodils. Okay, I see. I see. It says, "Oh no, not a guitar tech death." Yeah, no, we need those guitar techs. Guitar techs for sure. That's scary. Yeah. Yeah. Star Wars MCU-OG. My man says Reefer Man or maybe the Beyonder. Yeah, the Beyonder would be great too. You ever notice like in the comics, like the Beyonder and other characters like Nick Fury and all that stuff? You ever notice like so many of them look like David Hasselhoff? Like why do they all look like David Hasselhoff? Like are we supposed to should we just cast David Hasselhoff to play so many of these characters? QBL Music says, "Working too much." Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I understand that. And let's see, he says, "How's the beach?" The beach? Oh, man, I wouldn't know. I haven't been to the beach. I'm not a big beach person, you know? Like, I don't mind being at the beach. I'm just like, you ain't getting me in that fucking ocean. You goddamn crazy. Like, especially after you hear about all these millionaires that go down into the ocean, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm not a big beach person. Star Wars MCU-OG says, "I'm good, having some fun, doing a bit of work though." Oh, you're at the beach. MCU-OG's at the beach, having some fun and doing a bit of work. All right, it happens. It happens. Try to take a relaxing vacation. You always end up working anyway. I know how that is. Aggressively Relaxed says, "When will Evil Dead just lend its imagery to a Viagra ad campaign?" All right. And so is it the Viagra that's sitting there like, "I'll swallow your soul"? We got Nikki in the building. Says, "Trinita." Thank you so much for being here, Nikki. I hope all is going well with you. Let's see. Trinity was big mad in our comments section about corn sweat. Big mad. Yeah, no, I don't really know. You know, like with this whole casting, this new casting, I've never seen either of these actors in anything ever. David Cornsweet, I didn't even look up his filmography. I'm like, I just seen the dude's face. I'm like, man, I know I've never seen this dude. Was he in High School Musical? Was he in High School Musical? Would I know that? My kids were watching that. My daughters were getting into that there for a little while. They occasionally put it on still. Was David Cornsweet in High School Musical? Was he not? Yeah, I don't know him. But yeah, no, I think, you know, he looks like he could, like, he looks the part. He just need to put on a little bit of muscle. He'll be all right. You know, as long as he can act. And the other young lady, they got to play Lois. And I think it works out. I mean, she's pretty. She's not above average or anything like that. She's just kind of average. And I think that's kind of where Lois should be, right? Isn't that where Lois should be? It's kind of like, I don't think Lois Lane was ever supposed to be like the hottest woman in the world. She's supposed to be just kind of average and, you know, just enough to catch the eye of Clark Kent, right? And I think she has that look. Yeah. But the real question is can they act? And can they be good in these roles? You know? Because just because you can act doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be good in the role either. Especially when it comes to like the on-screen chemistry together. Because like Amy Adams is a fucking phenomenal actress, man. She's great. She's a great actor. But, you know, and I think Henry Cavill's an alright actor. He's not bad. He's not great. But he's a good actor. But like you seeing them on screen together, like I didn't feel the chemistry there at all. Like you watch them on screen, like, do they like each other? Are they gonna? Yeah. They might kiss, but they definitely ain't gonna. What do we say? What are we on here next? My popcorn porter says some people say that anything KK is attached to is a horror movie. There's a difference between but no, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I'm at the beach with the family. Oh, okay, yeah, nice. Hell yeah, enjoying some beach time with the family. Yeah, that's about the only time you'll catch me going to the beach is with the family. We got my man Will Morgan in the building. I hope all is going well. Will, we never got together, you son of a... We never got together. You owe me one, son. You owe me one. But thank you so much for being here, Will Morgan. Aaron from Strange Marvel Theory says, who started the party without me? Me. I did that. Nikki says, I'm glad he is not as known. Remember what happens when we get all the knowns of superheroes, the Rock get a cape? Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing is like I'm okay with and for me especially, you know, I think that's fine in getting actors in roles that aren't well known, because one of the things it does is it lowers that expectation that you have. I think it just kind of lowers the expectation altogether, and that's not to say that I don't expect a movie to be good, because I certainly do expect a movie to be good. But then the actors in it, you know, to what their capabilities are, like they get to rise to that occasion to show you what they've got when they get roles like this. I mean, because things could easily be said about, say, you know, like so many people talk about like, well, for instance, like the Star Wars, like, oh, you know, like think that just because you get into a Star Wars movie means you're going to go off and be a great big actor, you know, a big, you know, get all these big roles and you got to be great. Like who did that work out for? Like who out of any of the Star Wars franchise films went on to be big stars? Or you can start at the very beginning. Harrison Ford, he made his way. Eventually he got there, but I don't think he was necessarily a big star before that. And after that, I mean, he went in and put in some work and became one. Carrie Fisher, she hardly did anything. You know, I remember her in The Burbs, but like she didn't do a whole lot. She didn't become some big star. Mark Hamill, as big as he is, he didn't even become a big, huge star. You know, he ended up getting like a cult following more than anything. And then obviously got really well known for a lot more of his voiceover work. But then, I mean, you can even take a look at the newer movies, you know, like some of those people like Liam Neeson. He already was starting to had a name etched out for him anyway. But then you get like Hayden Christensen, like it didn't launch him into stardom. Natalie Portman, it didn't launch her into stardom. She was already on her path there. But I wouldn't even say Star Wars helped her out. You know, Samuel L. Jackson, he was there. You know, a lot of the like that, and that's kind of the thing, is getting people who aren't as well known. Take a look at what they'd done in the MCU. RDJ was the big name, and even then, he was a big name that had pretty much fallen and lost his value and regained it there. But Chris Hemsworth, fuck nobody. Who really knew who Chris Hemsworth was before Thor? Chris Evans? I mean, look at the movies Chris Evans did before Captain America. He wasn't a big star. Like he was doing, what was the one, Not Another Teen Movie? Wasn't that the one he was in? Like that, and like some of the other roles that he did before that. Like he wasn't on his way to superstardom. You know what I mean? Arguably Scarlett Johansson was already there, but she wasn't as big of a character she was in the movie. She wasn't even really that big of a character in the movies until later. You know, really, it really didn't even seem like she was a big major character in the MCU until like freaking Infinity War or Endgame, you know? But yeah, I think not having that smaller names attached, I think is a good thing. And yeah, The Rock is Black Adam. That's just horrible. I didn't even make it through that whole movie. I couldn't do it. It was horrible. Corn Sweat, the new fragrance. Yeah. Amy is a great actress, but she was shit as Lois Lane. Yeah. Well, and I think there's I think that's for a number of reasons. One, there was very little chemistry between her and Cavill, and two, she's in a Zack Snyder movie. You're a woman in a Zack Snyder movie. You don't have to act. You don't have to do shit but stand there and look pretty. That show me a Zack Snyder movie in which a woman has actually had to go in there and act and not just stand there and look pretty. I want to see it. I want to see it. I don't think I've seen one. I don't think I've seen one where a woman has to do more than just stand there and be pretty. If there's one, if there is a Zack Snyder movie out there like that in which a woman actually has to act, I'll walk back my statement here, but it's a statement I've made many times, is that no woman has to act in a Zack Snyder movie. All she got to do is stand there and look pretty, and that can be okay, right? That can be fine. That can work out. That can work out, you know, as long as the director is playing to that. Felicity Poobell in the building says Corn Sweat is 6'4". He's gonna have to work hard to get that physique right. You know, and that's one of the things. Like, I don't know that Superman necessarily has to be super big and buff. He definitely don't have to be like Chris Hemsworth, fucking Thor physique, or even Captain America physique. I just think he definitely has to have muscles on his frame at least, and not just look skinny. Because like you even go back to like Christopher Reeve. Like Christopher Reeve, like he's the quintessential Superman, right? But he also had muscle, but he wasn't like super ripped, super buff. But you could see like his arms. He had some pretty big arms. He was a pretty big dude, just all together. But he didn't look. I guess kind of maybe have that sleeper build, if you will. Like you don't have to be super big and buff, but definitely have muscle. And really, I think from what I've seen, pictures I've seen of this dude, this Corn Sweat guy, a couple of pounds of muscle will do him good. You know, 10, maybe 15 tops. Probably don't have to do much more than that. And even 10 might be a little bit pushing it, because like you see Henry Cavill when he was Superman, like especially in like Man of Steel, like he kind of overdid it. You know what I mean? Like he kind of, you know, like I don't think Superman necessarily has to be that buff. He's just got to be big in stature and be able to, I guess, be commanding. You know, like I don't know necessarily that he has to be super muscular though. Like I said, like Thor or Captain America was. But yeah, he does definitely need to put on a few pounds of muscle. Mike Popcorn Porter says I like that horror movie where everyone, where'd it go? Where everyone is enjoying a day at the beach. The gray clouds appear and a giant big head eats everyone. Wait, that's a recurring nightmare I have. That's pretty crazy. Like a big head appears in the clouds and it starts eating everyone. Mike Porter. You say you don't like scary movies, but that's pretty horrific. That's pretty horrific, dude. Sorry to say. I'm not sorry to say. But yeah. I do want more Squid Games. What's a Squid Game? I don't know what that is. I've never seen it. I don't know a Squid Game. Let's see. Aaron says Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Anyone? I haven't even seen a trailer for that. You know, I probably need to show that trailer to my kids. I know my kids have played that game and they're kind of into that. They might be into it. I don't know. StarWarsMCU-OG says only Harrison Ford really, but he was indie shortly after. Yeah, and that's what I said. Like he actually because I think before that, like, was American Graffiti was his first one, right? And then goes into Star Wars, and got into indie. And I wouldn't even necessarily say that indie launched him into stardom. It was just one of those things too. Like he just kept taking all the steps and getting there, and began really building his acting chops and getting in there for that. The guy was a fucking carpenter before he started acting. You know what I mean? Like. But yeah, I mean, he got indie, and then did shit like what else was there, like Witness and different things like that, is he built a catalog and got himself there. He didn't, it's like, oh, hey, I'm fucking Han Solo, bitch. And fucking, like, he was a big superstar. Like, it didn't work that way. It wasn't even like, hey, I'm Han Solo, I'm Indiana Jones. Like, it took time. It took time for him to get there. And he did. Believe me, he got there. And he's one of those dudes, too. Like, Harrison Ford, he's a good-looking dude. You know what I mean? He's like one of them dudes, like, he's a man's man, too. You know what I mean? Like, I can look at that dude and be like, that's a good-looking dude right there. That's a man right there. You know? Yeah, I like Harrison Ford. Mike Popcorn Porter says, I think the marvelous Miss Maisel actor is born to be Lois Lane, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, she certainly looks the part. I've never seen that show. I heard that she's in that, but I mean, she definitely looks the part. Like she could be the part of Lois Lane. I mean, she looks like she's right up there. Like. Because you know what? I think that the actor that they had as Lois Lane in like the Christopher Reeve movies, I think she was like perfect too. Because she's pretty. She's not, she's not overly gorgeous. She's not, like the hottest woman in the room. But she still pulled off the role like perfectly. And I feel like that's kind of what they went with this casting as well. Like they're like, okay, like we need this actress that looks like this because this actor before fit, you kind of fit that thing too, where she's very pretty. She's just kind of like got just like a plain Jane look to her. And like I said, she's not commanding the room, but she could command the room. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see. Will Morgan says he was the Human Torch, for God's sakes. Yeah, he was. He was the Human Torch. But I mean, did those movies? I mean, he was probably the better parts of those movies. You know what? No, you know what? Scratch that. Julian McMahon, like that was the fucking perfect casting in those Fantastic Four movies. Julian McMahon as fucking Doctor Doom. That, you know what? Bring me back Julian McMahon for the MCU Doctor Doom. That dude's fucking great. Like that dude, like that was probably one of the, that was a great casting. That was a great fucking casting. Julian McMahon as Doctor Doom. Probably the best casting definitely the best casting they've done of him. Just he not in very good movies. Natalie Portman is the mighty Thor. Yee! Stop it. Oh, wait, do I even have it on here? I don't know what I do. I don't think I do. Where's it at? Apparently I don't. Oh, do I? Oh.
Stop it. Stop it.
There we go. I do have it. Oh, man. Aaron says, speaking of Sam Jackson, anyone see the final minute of episode 2 of Secretive Invasion? Oh, yeah. Yeah, where he's got his hand in the cookie jar, huh? Trying to help them Skrulls out. He found him a Skrull he wanted to help out. He's like, give me some Skrully, baby. Oh, I mean, sorry. That might have been a little bit. Yeah. Make sure the T isn't silent, Mike. Yeah. Wait. Oh, the mighty Thor. Yeah. Not the mighty. Not the mighty. Not the mighty. The mighty. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, you meant the mighty. I see what you did there. I see what you did there, man. Wait, have to come back. The Coral just dropped a new song. Oh, okay. All right. Right on. You can wait to watch it. Go listen to it, Mike Poor. You can wait. There isn't much chemistry between Cavill and reality. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like for me, like Cavill, he's just so bland. Like I think like Cavill, he's a good actor, but he's just so uncharismatic. You know what I mean? Like when I see him, I feel like I'm looking at a robot. I feel like it's a robot talking. And that's not to say like he's an asshole or anything like that. He's just very, very, robotic. He's very, yeah, I really do feel like he lacks I really do feel like he lacks charisma. Charisma. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Uh Aaron says Superman has muscle definition. That's not all an actor needs to portray Superman. Yeah, and well, I wouldn't even say that because I mean I wouldn't want him to be like small like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee definitely has muscle definition, but he's not very big either. I feel like the dude's got to be big. This dude Cornsway, he's pretty big, but still definitely has to have muscle. And like I said, you don't have to be the most cut up, but definitely still has to look, like have a presence, still look a little bit intimidating, and that's why like having that sleeper build would work out because like I feel like that's something that Christopher Reeve had. Even though Christopher Reeves, he wasn't the biggest buffest guy either, but he definitely looked like he had a sleeper build. You know what I mean? Yeah. Squid Game is that Netflix show. Oh, okay. That's why I haven't seen it. I don't have Netflix. I don't watch Netflix. Didn't George Lucas meet Harrison building things on a movie set before George asked Harrison to star in Star Wars? Probably something like that. Because, I mean, he used him in American Graffiti before he did Star Wars. That was probably why they're probably like, okay, well, let's put you in this movie first that I'm doing, this Hot Rod movie I'm doing, and then we'll see how you work out. Yeah. Julian McMahon is so underrated. Love him as Nip Tuck. I'd never seen Nip Tuck, but I mean, I think I've seen like maybe a couple episodes of it, but like he just has that look and he has that presence. I mean, he really looks like a fucking Dr. Doom. He looks like a dude to be very fucking sinister. I know I've seen him in some other shit too, but yeah, he definitely has that look and that swagger of a great fucking villain. You know what I mean? Like a dude like you might be able to trust, and you could see why people would trust him, but altogether, you're like, you don't want to trust this fucking guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like the only like who else? The only other person they could probably get better than Julian McMahon was fucking like John Lithgow, right? Like John Lithgow, man. Like that's I probably need to sit down and watch some John Lithgow movies and then do like a showcase of John Lithgow, because John Lithgow is the fucking man. You know what I mean? Like John Lithgow is such a goddamn phenomenal actor. Like just because his range is nearly unmatched. John Lithgow goes and be's like fucking goofy, like Family Guy. You see him in like Harry and the Hendersons. You see him in Third Rock from the Sun. You see him in fucking Daddy's Home 2. You see him in goofy shit like that. And then you go and watch some shit like what was it, Cliffhanger? That he was in? Was he Cliffhanger or Ricochet with Denzel? Like this dude is fucking evil and sinister as shit. Like fuck that guy. You know what I mean? John Lithgow is fucking phenomenal. The dude's like his acting chops. Like he's like there's probably not a lot of and there probably is some. I mean, great actors that have as much range as this fucking guy, man. Like Lithgow is fucking God amongst men, man. He's fucking like John Lithgow is great. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. He's got that same kind of thing, like that. Maybe that's who we need to be fucking. We need a young John Lithgow to come in and be Dr. Doom. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's some hard shit to do. You know what I mean? That's some hard shit to do. Like Lithgow is the fucking man, dude. Which kind of brings me back to something else too. Was I remember thinking about this a while back because somebody was talking about John Walker and Wyatt Russell. And I was thinking, like, you know what? I definitely need to see more John Walker on screen, but I definitely want to see more Wyatt Russell because I haven't seen a whole lot of Wyatt Russell in a whole lot of movies or anything. I can't say I've seen him in a whole lot, but he definitely has there's scenes and like he showed me a lot in that Falcon and Winter Soldier show where, he seems like he could be goofy. He seems like he could be kind of that, that jerk, that asshole as well. Like he was kind of as John Walker, but then also he seemed like he kind of had like an extreme to him too. Like where he was sitting there in that council where he's sitting there all pissed off, where he's sitting there yelling at the council and everything. there at his hearing. I'm saying I feel like this dude probably has some range out there. And like I remember seeing some of the scenes in that show. I'm like, man, like he's definitely showing some of those chops that his father has, man. Because Kurt Russell is great too. And he's another actor that definitely has some fucking range to him. And can do the same thing. You could be goofy as hell, you know, and could be pretty fucking sinister as well. But I would like to see more out of Wyatt Russell too, because I think he's like, just from what little I've seen of him, he showed me he definitely has some range in there with his acting for sure, for sure. Um, let's see. Where did it go here? Dang it. Okay, so there it is. There. Oh yeah. Julian McMahon. Yeah. Yep. Felicity says, "Is it? It is okay if Cavill isn't your type. Pass him over this way." Yeah. Go right ahead. But he has a look. I was gonna say he definitely has. Cavill definitely has a superhero build. He's a pretty big dude. He's got that nice square jaw. And he looks like the kind of guy like, hey, you could trust. You could definitely see why he's appealing to women. You know, you could definitely see why he's appealing to women for sure. I ain't gonna deny that. He's a good looking dude. But yeah, no, you can have him, Felicity. It's okay. It's okay. You can take him. You can take him. Oh, that's funny. He gives off asshole vibes. Says, yeah, he does. Yeah, McMahon. Yeah, definitely. Sleeper build, Will Poulter. Yeah, I think he's got a sleeper build, though I'm not sure Will Poulter necessarily. I don't know about his acting chops, though. I haven't seen enough out of Will Poulter. He hasn't really shown me a lot in what I've seen him in either. Will Morgan says Harrison was a carpenter installing cabinets during Star Wars casting, but was already an actor. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because he was, like I said, Lucas used him in American Graffiti, which, yeah, Graffiti came first, right? I'm pretty sure I got that right. But yeah, because I feel like American Graffiti was kind of like his screen test, because he wasn't like a very big he wasn't showcased in that movie at all. He was basically just like, you know, just rowdy teenager with the freaking hot rod, you know. And I don't think he really did much more than that, but then acted like a rowdy teenager. But yeah, you know who we need in the MCU? The Sleepwalker. Who is the Sleepwalker? I can't think of the Sleepwalker. Why are you gonna make me look that up? Why are you gonna make me look that up? Why are you making me look that up? Because I don't know that I can't say that I've read any comic books with him in it. The Sleepwalker. Let's see. Oh, come on. Sleepwalker is a fictional character in comic books, created by Bob Budiansky and Brett Blevins. He first appeared in Sleepwalker #1. The character is named after his race and is the star of a self-titled comic book which ran for 33 issues from June of 91, February 94, with a holiday special. Let's see, where are we at here? Abilities: superhuman strength, durability, and visual acuity, enhanced speed, agility, stamina, and reflexes, flotation, like flight, substance altering eye beams, immunity to sleep, resistance to mental attacks, formerly use of Imaginator device. Budansky's concept dates back to the 70s. However, he called the character Alien until the Ridley Scott film of the same name was released, at which point he abandoned the idea of using the character. The character was finally saw release in reaction to the DC Comics character The Sandman, written by Neil Gaiman. Second Sleepwalker character was planned to receive a self-titled series by Robert Kirkman in 2004, but instead debuted in 2004 epic anthology. Okay, so where's okay, fictional character biography. The mindscape is a dimension that borders on the minds of all intelligent beings and living things, inhabited by many strange creatures. Some of them are very dangerous, seeking to invade the sleeping minds of humans. The sleepwalkers act as guardians to defend these minds and the mindscape, almost as a sort of dream police apprehending such evil creatures. One such sleepwalker was tricked by his archenemy Cobweb, who, like Sleepwalker, had a real name that is unpronounceable by humans, into entering the mind of a New York college student named Rick Sheridan and became trapped. Rick himself is an ordinary human being, majoring in film studies. As a college student, he lived in Brooklyn apartment building with his dog Rambo, where he worked as a building superintendent, doing maintenance work in exchange for living rent-free. He also earns a living as a part-time job teaching English to immigrants. Rick had an on and off again romance with a girl named Alyssa Conover. Sleepwalker first emerged from Rick's mind to battle a gang of thieves. He battled dream images of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, X-Factor, and the X-Men after a few confrontations in Rick's dreams. Rick reacts by tearing off Sleepwalker's Imaginator, a badge-like device worn by Sleepwalker used to teleport around the mindscape and to banish imprisoned monsters they captured. This causes the two to become bonded. When Rick sleeps, Sleepwalker could materialize in reality, or he could stay in Rick's mind and converse with him via his dreams. It was through a conversation in dreams that Sleepwalker is able to dispel Rick's initial fears that he was a malicious entity and work out agreeable terms of cohabitation. Holy shit. Yeah, you know what? You got me sold. You got me sold, man. I'm fucking sold. You know what? Now you okay. Like, all Will Morgan just did was make me want to go read some fucking comics right now. I'm sorry, guys. We're ending the goddamn stream. We are out of here. Nah, I'm kidding. But that sounds great. That sounds great. Regrettably, I've never read The Sleepwalker. Regrettably, I've never read The Sleepwalker. That sounds cool as shit. That sounds cool as shit. And yes, I will agree. We need some fucking sleep. And I could definitely see that tie in like some fucking Doctor Strange or fucking Moon Knight, what they've done with Moon Knight in the MCU type of shit. Hell yeah. And fucking sounds like it'd probably work out with like Blade and go along with. Sounds like it would go along with all that shit. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Q Bella Music says, I'm dying over here. They need to get Damson. Oh, dang it. Just jumped on me again. Damson Idris in there. Damson Idris as who? As who? Lithgow raised the show Dexter up to another level back when that show was great. I never watched Dexter, but I hear a lot of people talk about how great he was in Dexter. But yeah, like Lithgow is the fucking man. Yeah. Dr. Doom equals Julian McMahon equals Dominic West. Dominic West definitely has he definitely has that same appeal. He definitely has that same appeal as a Julian McMahon, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Ricochet is an epic movie. It is. Ricochet is a damn good one. I need to rewatch that one. It's been a while since I've seen it. But that is a good damn movie. Demolition Man is an epic. Yeah. Wait, are we talking about, the Demolition Man? Yeah. Demolition Man is a classic. Yeah, so is Ricochet. Yeah, Ricochet, definitely. Wasn't Ricochet Denzel's first, was that his first breakout role? I don't think it was his first role. But I think it was like I think that was the one that pretty much got him like well known, essentially. I think. Mike Porter says, hey, I'm back. Yeah. I saw Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage started a movie together. All I could think, The Unbearable Weight of Talent. Something like that. Isn't that what it was called? I never seen it. All I could think of was Ghost Rider and Pedro could possibly be cast as Robbie Reyes. Hey. I don't know. I mean, possibly. Will Moore says, I derailed you, my bad. No, dude, that's great. That's fucking great. That's great. Sleepwalker sounds fucking awesome. Tim's Talk says Ray sent me. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Tim's Talk. Said this was a safe place for Raylos and hipsters alike. It is. It is. This is a safe space for everybody. Safe space for everybody. Pure 90s fodder. My bad. No. It sounds great. Could you imagine Kirkman Sleepwalker? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, because Kirkman's one of those guys who can, one of those comic writers that can still write good stories. It seems like people seem to forget how to do that, right? That's not just me, is it? But yeah, that would have been great. Yeah, Kirkman Sleepwalker. I mean, just from what I read there in that short little Wikipedia description, that's fucking awesome. I'm sleeping through this Sleepwalker stuff. Yeah, Sleepwalker does sound dope. Absolutely. Yeah. And then they do that with Sandman on Netflix. I mean, yeah, it sounds like it essentially. That's kind of what they said in the. I mean, some character very much like that. Yeah. A good Denzel movie is Two Guns. Two Guns. Did I see that one? I can't remember if I've seen that one or not. I don't remember. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end the stream here. We've been going for about 90 minutes. We got a chance, in case you guys missed it. Start off, we were talking about the Evil Dead franchise and how I just got a chance to watch the reboot of like the Evil Dead franchise in the 2013 version of the film, which I thought was absolutely great. And then here in 2023, we just got sort of another entry into the Evil Dead franchise with the Evil Dead Rise. I shared my thoughts on those. I think they are both very good movies, definitely worthy of that Evil Dead name. Make sure you, if you weren't here earlier, make sure you rewind. Go check that out if you're watching on the replay as well. Thank you so much for being here. And then afterward, we kind of got here into a little bit of chatting about some more nerdy type of stuff regarding the upcoming Superman Legacy, right? Is that what it is? Superman Legacy? James Gunn's first entry into the DCU. And which got us off talking about other great actors and past castings and other castings and other things that we wish they would do. Man, it would be great, right? Wouldn't some of these things be great? You know, sometimes I feel like it's probably best that they don't have us fans in there doing this shit. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, maybe you should actually have fans in there doing this stuff, you know, making these castings.